G'day everyone. Intellectual property theft. How to protect your ideas before they walk out the door. Have you ever had that little nagging thought, if Billy left tomorrow, how much of my business would actually go with them? For a lot of SME owners, the fear is not just losing a good person, it's losing the ideas, the client knowledge, the processes, and the quiet shortcuts that make your business what it is. That bundle is your intellectual property, your IP, and once it walks out the door, it is very hard to get back. In this video, I want to talk about how you can protect that IP without turning your workplace into a paranoid surveillance state. We're going to look at three parts: prevention, detection, and response. Let's start with prevention. In my view, this is where most SMEs are undercooked. You may have an employment agreement from a template, maybe an NDA someone emailed you years ago, and a vague sense that, of course, the ideas belong to the business. But if it's not written clearly and enforceably, it is very hard to stand on later. So prevention starts with contracts. Make sure you have, one, a clear confidentiality or non-disclosure clause. Two, IP ownership wording that states anything created as part of the job belongs to the business. Three, where it is appropriate and legal, non-compete or non-solicitation clauses that limit what someone can do immediately after leaving. It's worth getting proper legal advice on these. Boilerplate is fine until it's tested, and then you really want it to stand up. Next, prevention is about access. Not everyone needs to see everything. Role-based access sounds fancy, but it can be as simple as who can see client lists, who can see pricing, who can export data, and who can install software or plug in external devices. Combine that with decent passwords, maybe a password manager, and you're already ahead of many businesses. The third part of prevention is culture. This is the bit too many people ignore. Most IP theft is not a Hollywood hacker. It is someone who feels undervalued, taken for granted, or angry, and who justifies to themselves that this is mine too. If people feel fairly treated, recognized, and included, they are far less likely to take actions that betray your trust. So let's move to detection. How do you know something is going wrong? Well, there are usually warning signs. A staff member suddenly starts downloading large numbers of files. You notice a lot of forwarding to a personal email address. Someone who's resigned asks for access to information that they never needed before. Sometimes the first clue comes from outside. A client contacts you because they've been approached by a former employee offering similar services with inside knowledge. You don't have to become obsessive, but basic monitoring and regular security checks are just part of modern business. Think of it as checking the locks on the building, except the building is your data. Finally, response. What do you actually do if you suspect or discover IP theft? The first rule is do not react purely out of emotion. There is usually anger, a sense of betrayal, sometimes panic. Take a breath and gather evidence. Look at your system logs, file histories, email records, and any client reports. Compare what the other party is using with your original material. Sorry, let's do that again. Compare what the other part is using with your original material. The stronger your evidence, the stronger your position. Then talk to your legal and HR support. Sometimes a quiet conversation and reminder of obligations is enough. Sometimes you need a formal letter, a cease and desist, or in more serious cases, further legal action. Equally important is how you communicate inside the business. IP theft can spook people and create a sense that no one can be trusted. Be honest that something has happened, reassure your team that you are dealing with it properly, and use it as a moment to reinforce your values: ethical behavior, care for clients, and respect for the work everyone puts in. If you bring prevention, detection, and response together, you're not promising that IP theft can never happen. What you are doing is significantly lowering the risk and giving yourself a much better chance of responding well if it does. Your business's most valuable asset is not just what you sell, it's what you know. Protecting your IP is really about protecting your future options. Well, thanks for being here. Please take a look at the extended article that is linked in the description, and I hope to see you back here soon. Cheers. See ya.